The Territorial Army plays a key role in supporting the regular British Army, and 655 Squadron, based at Middle Wallop, recently had a recruiting evening at the Museum of Army Flying. And we went along to find out how the TA supports the Army Air Corps in this month's edition of Young Eagles. When you think of the Army Air Corps, you probably think about the helicopters and their pilots. But there is a big team of people that support helicopter operations in the field, from armaments to maintenance and refuelling. And working alongside the regular army, you'll find a dedicated team of part-time soldiers, the Territorial Army. 655 Squadron is the territorial unit based at Middle Wallop, and at a recent recruiting evening, Joe caught up with Captain Jennings, the officer in charge, to ask him about the squadron.
Well, actually this is a recruiting night that we've got this evening, and it's to get the interest of the local population to actually join the TA. 655 Squadron is a part of 6th Regiment Army Air Corps. All the stands here are taking it through all the stages that somebody has to go through to join the Territorial Army.
So what is the role of the TA in the modern British Army?
Well, every regiment within the TA has its own role. For 655 Squadron, our role or our mission is to support the regular army with individual reinforcements to deploy on operations and exercises wherever the Army or the Army Air Corps deploy to.
So I understand that everyone in the TA is a volunteer, so how do they manage both lifestyles?
Well, very good question. As you say, everybody in the TA is a volunteer. However, when they walk through the door in the evening, they wear this, and obviously from that moment on they get paid. They're expected, a TA soldier is expected to do at least 27 man training days over a year. In all of that, they do their mandated training, and including a 2-week camp. And that's how we train them. So they train at weekends and they train on a 2-week camp throughout the year. When they've completed their training, they can then volunteer to deploy on operations, which takes approximately 18 months. And the age range for joining the TA is from the age of 17 3/4 up to the age of 43. So it's quite a vast range, but what we're looking for is for those people that come into the TA that bring all those different skill sets that they have from their civilian employment.
The work that the Territorial Army soldiers will do with 655 Squadron can be quite demanding and complex. And at the museum this evening, the potential recruits have a chance to chat with some TA soldiers who have recently come back from a tour of duty, working with the Apache helicopters in Afghanistan.
So Lance Corporal Rundle, I understand you've just come back from Afghanistan.
That's
so
correct,
what was it like?
Well, for me itself, obviously the actual conditions themselves, it was very, very warm. You know, doing the job, working with the Apache helicopter, doing a lot of the rearming, refueling, basically being the pit stop team for the actual aircraft and the air crew. We did that solidly for about 4 to 4.5 months, and you know, giving what we could as in the air as best ground support, straight to the guys on the ground who needed us at the time. Like I say, the conditions were very, very warm, ramping up to maybe 50 degrees plus in the midday, to at night time ramping down to about 35 degrees at night. So all in all, like, the conditions themselves, fairly tough to unbearable at some points, but you do get used to it and you do just crack on with that, you know.
So while you're out there, overall, did you enjoy the experience?
Yes, I mean, I found the experience, especially for myself, being a TA soldier, being as we're slowly called, we are like part-time soldiers really. Our experience levels maybe not as high as our regular counterparts, but we do try to do well. And as the experience goes, with the experience I was gained to carry out my job now for the future, yes, a lot was gained from that. A lot was gained from that.
So I understand you've got a civilian job as well. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that. And how does your employer feel about you being pulled out for 4 months at a time?
Well, as a civilian job, would you believe it, I actually work as a ground crew specialist at another airport, a civilian airport in Cambridge, where I work with a large quantity of different types of aircraft, from military C-130 to TriStar, to also civilian helicopters and civilian business jets as well. So really for me, this is, as we would say, it's a bit like a busman's holiday for me when I go away. But my employer is very, very pro-TA, pro-British Forces in the respects that I do believe my managing director or managing chairman of the company, he's Air Commodore to the Royal Auxiliary RAF. So he understands what it's like for part-time soldiers at the moment. He understands what it's like for the forces on a whole. So I've been very, very lucky in those respects, yeah.
And I hear that you're going to be going back out to Afghanistan shortly.
Yes, that is correct, yes. I'm heading out again in May. The squadron that I'm going back out again has actually asked for my expertise back again. So it's actually, it's nice on that front that our regular counterparts are actually calling us guys back in. And yes, I'm looking forward to the tour. But as always, if you wouldn't be normal if there wasn't a little bit of anxiety. But hopefully, you know, get out there this time, get back home in September and make sure the job's done well. That's all it's about.
As well as the helicopter support role, the TA soldiers all have to be proficient in the basic skills of soldiering. And the regular army are on hand to help them learn these skills. And Joe met up with Staff Sergeant Kavanagh to find out more.
So Staff Kavanagh, I understand that you're regular instead of TA. So what's your role within the 655 Squadron?
I'm the senior permanent staff instructor. My job within the day, I'm an actual daytime sergeant major. I run the squadron throughout the day, but my main role is to provide the training background for all the TA soldiers when they come in on a Tuesday night or on a weekend. I'm the one that gets all the lesson packs together. I get all the, everything in order. When the sergeant major down there comes in on Tuesday night, he then takes over and off he goes. My other role is obviously to provide the correct skills from a regular background and put it onto a TA background so that they are getting taught the proper stuff.
So what skills do you train the TA with?
My main skill is in weapons. I'm a skillet arms instructor, so that is my main remit. That is my life, if you want. That's what I really enjoy. Getting in there, teaching them how to use the weapon systems, all the way up onto the ranges. We've gone to ranges. We're on the ranges this weekend, actually shooting the weapons. I'm also a map reading instructor and a first aid instructor, and that is just the basis. But I've also got to encompass all the other aspects of life, i.e. the Apache training.
So you're like a trainer?
Yeah, it's actually we train the trainer. The terminology is train the trainer. So we'll go away, we'll get the qualifications, do the courses, and then we'll teach the TA soldier how to instruct on that same course so that he can then train the other TA soldiers. And like I said at the beginning, we're just the overseers to make sure they're doing it correctly.
Well, it sounds like there is a lot to learn to become a TA soldier with 655 Squadron, but it isn't all work, as you also get the chance to take part in lots of sporting and adventurous activities.
So Air Trooper Jennings, I've heard that you've been on a bit of an adventure lately. Do you want to share that with us?
I have, yeah. So at Christmas, just up here actually, I flew to Australia to represent the Army team in the world famous Sydney Hobart race. So we flew out on the 17th of December and did loads of training up until Boxing Day, when we sailed from Sydney Harbour 660 odd miles to Hobart in Tasmania, which is in the bottom of Australia. Competing against, well, hundreds of other boats, but also the Navy and the Air Force, and took just 4.5 days of sailing, and it was awesome, really good. But it's not just sailing you can do in the Army with adventure training, you can do all sorts of things like skiing, you can see the pictures here, rock climbing, windsurfing, skydiving actually. Some people in our unit have done some skydiving, all sorts of things. Whatever you want to do, you can get into.
Well, it looks like being a TA soldier is a very responsible job, and great fun as well. And it gives you lots of opportunities to build your own personal skills and confidence. We'll see if we can catch up with the 655 Squadron again in a later show. But that's all from this episode of Young Eagles, and we look forward to seeing you all again next month.